At my graduation, I discovered the shocking truth about my father's hidden intentions, a life-changing revelation. As I stood in my cap and gown, the community center pulsed with the kind of heart-squeezing pride that filled the air like the scent of fresh-baked bread. Families gathered, laughter intertwined with nervous anticipation, a vibrant sea of color and celebration. But amidst the cheers and the applause, I could feel a weight pressing down on my chest, heavy and undeniable. Today was supposed to be uplifting, a testament to all the late-night study sessions, the juggling of my part-time job at the diner, and countless sacrifices made by my father, Tom, a war veteran whose stoic demeanor hid years of disappointment. Each name called felt like a stepping stone, bringing me closer to my own moment, but their cheers mixed with a gut-wrenching sense of obligation. When they finally announced my name, I walked across the stage, clutching my diploma like a lifeline. It was a victory. After all, I was the first in my family to graduate college. But inexplicably, I felt an unfamiliar darkness creeping in, an unsettling sensation refusing to let me savor the joy. Then, just as I took that final step, I felt something cool slip into my hand, a crumpled letter, nearly hidden as I accepted my diploma. I glanced around. A stranger smiled knowingly, but confusion flickered in my mind. What could this be? I shoved it into my pocket, a mere distraction as I basked in the echoed cheers of family, friends, and well-wishers. Later, the heartwarming voices faded, replaced by my own racing thoughts. In the quiet of my room that evening, I meticulously ripped open the envelope, curiosity tearing through me like a flash of lightning. 3 simple words: "I'm sorry." Sarah opened a floodgate of emotions. The letter unfurled a harrowing truth. Tom had dreams of his own. A career, stability, everything they never had, everything I had longed for. But he had sacrificed it all for me. My heart raced as anger and sorrow collided, deepening the crevices of my understanding. How could I have missed his despair? The night wasn't meant for shadows, not on the eve of my graduation. But as reality sank in, it loomed larger than life. My father couldn't be the heroic figure I idolized. I stormed into the living room. The sunlight had long faded, shadows creeping around us like silent fears. "Why didn't you tell me?" I demanded. My voice surged with adrenaline. His eyes caught mine, searching for words, emotions dancing like ghosts across his features. "I chose you," he said finally, pain etched on his face. "Your future was my dream." I could hardly breathe, the weight of his choices strangling my resolve. "But what about your dreams, Dad? You just gave them up?" A thunderous silence filled the room, trembling with unspoken truth. Years of struggles, sacrifices drifting in the air like muted cries. "Because I believed in what you could achieve," he whispered. Each word hung heavy, the room thick with grief and love and hope intertwined. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. I grappled with the truth of his sacrifice while love for him surged like an unrelenting tide. Could I honor his choice while pursuing my own ambitions? Would revealing this secret draw us closer or forever alter the fabric of our bond? Confusion swirled, emotions spiraled, and neither of us had answers. As we stood at this precipice, the night wide open before us and filled with uncertainty, the weight of unsaid words felt heavier than ever. In that moment, nothing was resolved. Our shared dreams hung delicately in the air, poised for a perfect dive into the unknown. The silence wrapped around us like a heavy blanket, consuming the space meant for celebration. I could feel tears prickling at the corners of my eyes, but I fought them back, unwilling to let my vulnerability spill out. This was no ordinary night. I had worked tirelessly for this moment, yet it felt like my victory had twisted into something else entirely. "Dad," I started, my voice quivering. "What am I supposed to do with this?" The words felt thick, stuck in my throat. I watched as he lowered his gaze, his shoulders heavy with the burden of responsibility. I wish I could take it back, tell you everything sooner, he murmured, glancing up to meet my questioning gaze. But I thought keeping it from you would protect you. Protect me? I echoed incredulously. From what? Knowing you had dreams too? That you sacrificed for me? That I was the reason you never chased them? The realization cut deeper than I anticipated. I was the dream unchased, the burden he couldn't shake off. His silence unsettled me further. Why had he kept it hidden? The air crackled with frustration and betrayal. I wanted him to explain, to make sense of the choices he had made. The lengths he had gone to keep his dreams buried beneath my own shattered aspirations. I never wanted you to feel guilty, he finally said, his voice barely a whisper. You were always meant to shine. But at what cost, Dad? I pressed harder, feeling the turmoil rise in me. Did you ever think about what you wanted? What you needed? The clock on the wall ticked louder, marking the seconds of our silence. My heart raced, echoing the pulse of uncertainty as I faced my father. We had finally stepped into a territory filled with raw truths, but I sensed we were still tiptoeing around the big one, the revelation that could fracture this moment. Maybe it's time for both of us to dream, I said softly. What if we shared this burden? What if we pursued our dreams together? The thought felt exhilarating yet scary, a sliver of hope tangled with angst. His brows furrowed, a hint of a smile forming on his lips. Together? He repeated, as if the concept had never dawned on him before. Yeah, I affirmed, feeling a rush of audacity wash over me. We don't need to hide anymore. Maybe I can help you find what you lost, too. He paused, as if weighing the gesture. What if I discourage you? What if I can't be the father you need? His voice trembled, reflecting years of self-doubt. We'll find out, I replied, planting my feet firmly on the ground. Together. At that moment, the shadows receded slightly, paving way for the dim light of possibility. There was a spark in his eyes that hadn't been there before, certainly not when he had been weighed down by expectations. Okay, he finally said, breathing a little easier. Let us make our dreams part of this journey. Then, but just as the weight began to lift, a new thought flashed in my mind, a darker complicity in this silenced past. Was this revelation enough to mend the threads of our lives? Did I have the strength to confront not just his regrets, but my own? The truth was, I didn't just want to honor my father's sacrifice. I also needed to confront my fear of failure. Was I ready to step into uncharted territory, or would the shadows of both our pasts keep us bound to what we had always known? The night stretched before us, and the questions hung heavier than ever. What did it really mean to follow our dreams? What if the path ahead shattered everything we thought we knew? The way forward seemed like a vast, uncharted land, both thrilling and terrifying. As my father looked at me, waiting for the next words to fall from my lips, I felt a spark of inspiration. Maybe I could help him uncover his dreams, and in that process we both discover who we were meant to be. Let us make a plan, I said suddenly, and the vibrant idea electrified the air around us. What would your dream be if you could chase it without worrying about anything else? His brow furrowed deeper, the weight of my question settling on his shoulders. Slowly, he exhaled like he was releasing a long-held breath. I used to dream of being an artist, he confessed, his voice tinged with regret. I wanted to paint, to express the world through colors and strokes, but life took me down a different path. A rush of emotion swelled in my chest. Why didn't you ever do it? Why didn't you tell me? I pressed gently, my heart aching for the man who had spent years locked away in frustration, chasing everyone else's dreams except for his own. Because I didn't want to fail again, he replied, his gaze dropping to the floor. And I thought if I didn't try, then there was no disappointment to face. The heaviness settled over us again, thickening the silence. It was hard to see the man I loved crumpled beneath the weight of regret. His struggles felt like my struggles, binding us together in a confusing tapestry of dreams deferred. But Dad, not trying is the real failure, I said softly. We can't allow fear to keep us from living fully. He looked up, an ember of hope flickering in his eyes, as if something in me finally broke through the wall he had built. You really think we could do this together? Go back to our dreams? Why not? I smiled, feeling the excitement rush through my veins. Let us paint again. You can show me how. His laughter dissolved some of the tension, a sound I realized I wanted to hear more often. I'm not so sure I remember how any more than let us learn together. I insisted, clapping my hands together with determination. We can take a class or attend workshops. There are so many ways we can start. His gaze shifted to the sunset spilling through the window, casting warm hues across the room. This might be crazy, he murmured, a hint of nervousness creeping into his voice. Crazy enough to work, I replied, resolute. Let us challenge each other. 1 week we start on your dream and the next we tackle mine. Together. He nodded slowly, the walls around him beginning to crumble. Okay, he said, a newfound spark illuminating his face. But I need you to promise me something. Anything, I said eagerly. You won't give up when it gets hard. There will be days it feels hopeless. Promise me you'll push through. I promise, Dad, I said, sealing the bond of our pact with sincerity in my heart. As we began to brainstorm, the air buzzed with excitement. Rough sketches, color palettes, and possibilities danced between us. In that moment, our dreams felt tangible, closer than they'd ever been before. But beneath the thrill of our plans, doubt threaded its way into my mind. Could I really face the world without the shadows of failure looming over me? As I turned to my father, anxiety clouded the budding joy within me. What if our first attempts became daunting reminders of our past? Would the fear of failure silence our newfound voices before we even began? The ticking clock became our only witness, the weight of unspoken fears hanging overhead. Uncertainty draped over us, and I felt my heart race. We stood at the start line, but what awaited us if we dared to leap into the unknown? My mind raced with the weight of what was ahead. As I flipped through the pages of different art plans, each sketch appeared vibrant with dreams, yet they were clouded by obvious fear. What if my attempts to help Dad reignited his old demons instead of nurturing his long-buried passion? Dad, I said softly, trying to break the cloud hanging over the emotional storm. Why don't we start with something small? Just a simple canvas, some colors. We can paint together this weekend. He nodded slowly, a timid smile growing on his face. That sounds manageable. It was a start, but deep down, I wondered if it would be enough to break the silence he'd built around his heart. In the following days, we tossed around ideas. I found myself giddy with excitement, but every tick of the clock reminded me of our deadline. The weekend felt like a tightrope walk, balancing on the thin line between anticipation and fear. On Saturday, we ventured out together in search of supplies. The art store was a kaleidoscope of colors, each tube of paint a promise. I grabbed vibrant hues, while Dad looked cautiously at the muted tones. Why not something bright? I urged. You're going to unleash your creativity. He hesitated, holding a tube of pale blue. It feels safer, he replied, eyes darting to the canvases nearby. Safe 1T let you fly, Dad. I stepped closer, hoping my encouragement would seep into the cracks of his self-doubt. This is your moment, he sighed, finally nodding in agreement. All right, let us go bold. A spark of excitement flared in his eyes. We left with bags filled with brushes, canvases, and the thrill of promise. When we got home, the living room became our makeshift studio. I set up the canvases as Dad mixed colors diligently at the table. Watching him, I felt excited. There was a certain magic in seeing him prepare, a light breaking through years of shadows. Okay, what's first? I asked, anticipation bubbling in my voice. Let us just start. No pressure, right? He replied with a mixture of enthusiasm and doubt. A nervous energy buzzed between us as we picked up our brushes. We began to splash colors onto the canvas, feeling the vibrant, messy joy wash over us. Different hues mixed, creating a swirl of chaos and beauty that echoed life itself. Yet amid the laughter and chatter, my mind flashed back to his old reluctance. What if the joy we felt now would fade as soon as the first challenge appeared? Time slipped through our fingers quickly. Both of us lost in the rhythm of creativity. We barely noticed the evening settle around us until the fading light dimmed our colors. My heart soared seeing Dada's frown transform into a smile as he painted his vision. But just as I began to feel comfortable, my phone buzzed with a message. I glanced at it, and my breath caught. It was a picture, a striking resemblance of my father in an art contest he had entered years ago. His extravagant piece hung in a gallery while a large crowd admired it. Had he kept this from me all this time? Confusion washed over me. My heart sank, caught between trust and betrayal. Why hadn't he told me about this? What else had he hidden? Is everything all right? Dad asked, concern painting his features. I nodded, but the discord in my mind wouldn't let me be at peace. I had thought we were building something new, but maybe we merely scratched the surface of deeper wounds. As I looked back at him, uncertainty began to creep in. What was my father afraid of? What more was buried that could shake the foundations of our newfound journey together? The clock ticked on, a reminder that the night was far from over, and I felt painfully aware that our exploration had only just begun. The buzz of the paintbrushes faded as my thoughts spiraled. I could see the vibrant colors on the canvases, but the message on my phone hijacked my attention. The photo of Dad in a gallery was still haunting me, and the air thickened with questions I couldn't voice. Dad, I finally said, my voice faltering slightly, can we talk about that photo? He stiffened, his brows knitting together. What photo? I swallowed hard, hoping the words wouldn't tumble out as accusations. The one you entered a contest with, the one where you won. I didn't know you had this passion. His expression changed. He looked lost, slipping back into that familiar mask of reluctance. It was a long time ago. I thought you'd be happier without knowing about it. Happy? How could I be happy if you kept that from me? I stepped closer, desperate to break through the wall he built around himself. You could shared your art with me. I want to know you, Dad. All of you. He inhaled deeply, his shoulders tightening. It was a different time. I was different. I was afraid of what people would think, of what I'd become if I stepped into that world again. With every word, I felt the weight of his fears pressing down on both of us. But you have a gift. Why wouldn't you want to embrace it? For a moment, silence hung thick, like the paint on our brushes. I watched him wrestle with his emotions, knowing that this moment could either be the breakthrough we needed or another step back into isolation. Gifts can feel like burdens sometimes, he admitted, his voice softening. I thought that leaving it behind would free me. After all, being an artist isn't just about painting. It can expose your soul. I didn't want to drag you along if I failed again. Failure? You haven't failed, Dad. You just stepped away. I could see the memories flicker behind his eyes, bits of light buried under layers of doubt. Let us paint again. Let us bring that part of you back to life. He hesitated, the darker shades of his past still looming. It's not that simple, sweetheart. You don't know the whole story. Then tell me, I pleaded, feeling the pulse of our moment. We can face it together. You aren't alone anymore. Something shifted in him. The color seemed to seep back into his cheeks. Maybe I can try. For you. With that sliver of hope, we returned to the canvases. We poured our emotions onto the fabric before us, the colors a cathartic release. Laughter intermixed with memories of past creations. For each stroke, I could see layers peeling away from Dada's heart. But there was a heavy question still lingering between us. Would sharing his hidden life really solidify our bond, or would it distance us further? As we painted, excitement mingled with uncertainty. My heart raced, hoping this was the beginning of something beautiful but aching with the thought of what truths lay ahead. Just as I reached for a new color, the phone buzzed again. I hesitated to check it, fear gnawing at my stomach. What if it was another piece of my father's past waiting to unfold? One that could shatter everything we had just begun to rebuild. I stole a glance at Dad. What should I do? His gaze steadied on mine, and in that moment, I saw courage flicker in his eyes. But just as quickly, it was overshadowed was it fear. The clock continued ticking, and I knew that whatever was waiting on the other side of that screen might change everything. "Open it," he said, voice barely a whisper, but injected with an intensity one couldn't ignore. My fingers tightened around the phone. I could feel the vibration still humming, an electric charge hanging in the air. Dad's eyes bore into me, a mix of hope and thinly veiled apprehension. What revelation awaited us on that screen? I took a deep breath and swiped the notification. A new message appeared, and with it, a familiar name. Sam, a person from Dad's past I had heard about only in whispers, often shrouded in mystery. "Hey, I found something of yours. We need to talk." The words danced in front of me, but their weight was heavy. I glanced at Dad, watching the color drain from his face. His gaze flickered to the floor, betraying a flood of emotions. "I don't want to answer that," he said, his voice low and shaky, "but it might explain everything." I pressed gently, feeling a mix of urgency and compassion. I could see him wrestling with a lifetime of decisions. The silence grew, thick with unspoken fears. "Sam, he was someone I never wanted to see again," Dad finally murmured. "It's complicated." Complicated? Or just painful? I could hear the tremor in my own voice. I wanted him to be honest with me, not just about the art but about everything, his past, his struggles. "Please, Dad. Whatever it is, we can face it together." He took a step back, shaking his head. "No, you don't understand. Some things are better left unspoken. I put that life behind me for a reason. I can't go back, not now." "Why not? You're stronger now than you were before." My voice cracked slightly. The tension was unbearable. "This could be your chance to reclaim it all." And then, a single tear slid down his cheek. Time stretched as I realized just how deep this goes. I thought if I buried it, if I ignored it, it would disappear. But the truth never really goes away. Does it? "No, it doesn't," I said softly. "That's why we have to confront it. Together." He closed his eyes, but I could see his heart racing. It felt like we stood on the precipice of discovery, a jump without a safety net. Who could we be on the other side of this revelation? After what felt like hours, he turned back to me. "Okay, I trust you. Open it." Swallowing hard, I tapped on the message. My heart thundered louder as it loaded. The screen illuminated my face, showing a photo attached to the message. It was smudged and worn, but I could make out faces gathered beside a canvas. My stomach knotted as my eyes focused on Dad, looking younger but unmistakably familiar. "And beside him, who is that?" I whispered, pointing to a woman in the corner. She was beautiful. There was joy radiating from her, a connection to Dad that felt palpable even through that blurry snapshot. His expression darkened. "That's Lisa." I thought I had left it all behind her. The art, everything. I felt the world tilt. "Lisa? Was she part of your life as an artist?" The tension escalated, palpable in the air between us. "Yes, and it was more than just art. She was everything," he admitted, voice strained. "But when I chose to walk away, I chose to walk away from her too. I thought I'd protect you by leaving that life in the past." The pain in his voice sliced through me, and I realized this was bigger than I had imagined. "But if she's here now, does that mean she's searching for you? Did you even tell her about me?" He dropped his gaze to the ground, anguish etched on his features. "I don't know, but there's no way to go back. It was a closed chapter. And yet, it's back open. I senti it." My fingers trembled over the phone screen. This was spiraling into an entirely different kind of storm. "Some stories are better left untold," he replied. But just as the weight of his words sunk in, the phone buzzed again. Another message, another potential shift in everything we were. I felt fear and curiosity intertwine, each one pulling me in opposite directions. "Open it," Dad insisted, voice stronger now, every bit of desire to know flooding his eyes. Would we finally uncover the truths that shaped our family? Would this change our journey forward or cast another shadow? In that moment, I felt time hold its breath. The next message could unravel everything, or bring us closer than ever. Which path would we choose? I hesitated, my thumb hovering just above the screen. Dad's breath hitched, each second stretching into eternity. The weight of his past and my curiosity hung in the air like a thick fog. What lay beyond that tap? I pressed it, and my heart raced as another message loaded. The words shimmered into view. It's more than just a conversation. The past is moving, and it involves you both. Please meet me. I barely had time to process the invitation before Dad's phone buzzed, flashing a similar message from Sam. The same plea was echoed in those words. Urgency, desperation. It's time to talk. I looked at Dad, and a mixture of fear and hope pulsed between us. We have to meet him, I said, bolstered by a boldness I didn't quite feel. We can't ignore it. Not now. Dad shook his head vehemently, like a child refusing to face a storm. You don't know what you're asking. Sam. He brings chaos. I thought I could escape that chaos. But you didn't escape, Dad. Here we are, being pulled back in. Imagine what we could gain from this. Understanding. Closure. My heart beat louder, thumping against my ribs, as I pleaded with him. We can't just let chance slip away. But what if it hurts? His voice cracked. I could see the turmoil wrestling within him. The thought of Lisa, of choices long buried, brought shadows back to life. I reached for his hand, hoping to tether him to this moment. What if it heals you? I countered, turning his anger into something softer. You've taught me that facing fear can lead to strength. His gaze shifted, weighing my words as if they were bricks in a balance scale. Memories flickered behind his eyes. Finally, his shoulders slumped, surrendering a little of their tension. Maybe, but I'm not promising anything. I can't predict how this will go. As if sensing our resolve, the phone buzzed again, this time with a location pinned in the message. Gallery 9, 6 p.m. I could feel my pulse racing. That's today. What could be so important? Dad asked, his voice barely a whisper. It was as if he was asking himself more than me. Your past? Or maybe it's our future. Dad let out a shaky breath, his body tense. We could walk away. Could we? The question lingered in the air like a morning fog. Or do we need to confront whatever shadows linger? He finally seemed to relent, nodding slowly as if making peace with a familiar enemy. I'll go. But on my terms. Of course. I felt a rush of relief. We were a team again, facing what loomed beyond the horizon. Okay then, let us. But before he finished, the phone buzzed yet again, this time causing both our hearts to skip a beat. Another message from Sam. It said simply, You won't believe what I found. This is bigger than you think. The anticipation crept back, tinged with dread. Do you think it's about Lisa? My voice trembled with the weight of the question. I don't know, Dad mumbled, his composure cracking. But I can't go down this road without knowing for sure. The uncertainty wrapped around us, tight and suffocating, as we prepared to confront the shadows. What was hidden in the dark would soon shatter the fragile peace we clung to. The clock ticked relentlessly, and in just a few hours, we would find ourselves face to face with a past neither of us was prepared for. Would we finally find the threads that connected us, or would this only tighten the knots? I caught a glimpse of Dad's raw emotion surfacing. Fear, regret, a flicker of hope. It felt like we were standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to jump into uncertain waters. With renewed determination, we walked out the door. The gallery awaited, and so did its secrets. The streets buzzed with life as we drove closer to Gallery 9. The summer sun hung low, casting warm, golden rays across storefronts and bustling sidewalks. Yet, inside the car, a heavy silence knitted itself between us, thick with unspoken fears and swirling questions. Do you think Sam's changed? I asked, trying to lighten the mood. But Dad kept his eyes straight ahead, the grip on the steering wheel betraying his tension. I hope so, he finally muttered. But I can't shake the feeling that he's still the same wild card. I nodded, understanding his hesitation. Sam had always been the unpredictably stormy element in our lives. But today felt different. Today, he wasn't just revisiting the past. He was luring us into it as we parked. An unease settled in my stomach. My heart drummed a nervous tattoo as Dad and I exchanged glances. The gallery loomed before us, an unassuming but vibrant space, filled with promise and dread in equal measure. "Ready?" Dad asked, his voice quiet yet urgent. "Not really," I admitted, but I opened the door and stepped into the warm evening air. The gallery was vibrant inside, brimming with colorful artwork and murmurs of art enthusiasts. But the beauty felt distant compared to the weight of our mission. I scanned the room, searching for Sam. My eyes darted from one familiar face to another, each smile and laugh feeling laced with irony. Behind me, I could sense Dad's guarded disposition growing heavier with every step deeper into the gallery. "Over there." I pointed towards a corner where Sam stood, hands gesturing animatedly, his laughter echoing in the warmth of the gathering. My heart raced as I watched, remembering the boy who had once been my father's closest friend but had also been the harbinger of chaos. Sam noticed us just then. His expression shifted from amusement to concern, a blend of excitement and something raw behind his eyes. He padded over briskly, the hum of conversation fading around us. "Thanks for coming," he said, his voice low. "I didn't think you'd actually show up, given everything." Dad's face hardened. "What did you find, Sam? Why are we here?" "All in good time," Sam replied, his gaze flitting over to me before returning to Dad. "You'll want to sit." I exchanged a puzzled glance with Dad before leading the way to a minimalist seating area filled with plush chairs. The ambience turned into a backdrop for deeper emotions to unfold, and I could feel my breath steadying as Sam joined us. "The thing is," he started, leaning forward slightly, "this isn't just about the past. It's about a decision you made, Leo. A decision that rippled through everything." Dad stiffened, his eyes narrowing. "What do you mean?" I felt the tension in the air shift. Sam took a breath, eyes darting momentarily before he continued. "You remember Lisa's family? They didn't just disappear. They were tangled up in something bigger. Something I only recently unearthed." "Just spit it out, Sam." Dad's voice rose slightly, a flash of anger cutting through the calm. "There was a cover-up," Sam revealed, the words hanging heavy like lead. "Your choices, Leo. They created a chain reaction. And it all connects back to what happened with Lisa." Shock rippled through me. I glanced at Dad, whose expression shifted to confusion and hurt as the real weight of Sam's revelations settled like a smothering fog. "What are you saying?" My heart raced. I felt the walls closing in a moment, stuck between the past and an uncertain future. "Just trust me," Sam said, urgency creeping into his voice. "I have proof, and it's time we all faced the truth." As he pulled out an old, tattered photograph from his jacket, I could feel the anticipation building. Whatever was captured in that image might unravel everything we thought we knew. What truths lay waiting beneath the surface? Would they bring us closer, or tear us apart forever? The photograph trembled slightly in Sam's hand, as if it carried the weight of its secrets. I leaned closer, squinting at the faded image, desperately searching for some clue, some insight into what Sam was driving at. It depicted a group of people, their faces frozen in a moment, laughter echoing from a time long past. But amidst the smiles, my heart sank. "Is that?" I breathed, hardly trusting my voice. "Lisa," Sam nodded, confirming my fears. "And others. But look closer." I focused on the back row, a tall figure casting a long shadow. I recognized the silhouette immediately, the unmistakable shape of my father. The sight sent a shock through me. He was supposed to be the protector, the one who shielded us from the chaos that Sam represented. But here he was, smiling in the company of the very people who were tangled in the web of disaster. "What does this mean?" Dad asked, his voice barely above a whisper. His brow furrowed, and I could tell he was grappling with guilt, memories rushing back in a tidal wave. Why was he involved with them? I prompted, the question hanging in the air, thick and suffocating. My mind raced, recalling every conversation over the past years when Lisa's family was barely mentioned, their absence glossed over with practiced ease. "You see," Sam continued, his eyes shifting between us, "this isn't just about past mistakes. It's about what came after. Decisions were made, events set in motion that led to the silence, to Lisa's family being erased from the narrative. I felt gravity pulling me down as I processed the implications. The carefree laughter of the photo contrasted sharply with our solemn reality. Did you know what was going to happen? Dad looked stricken, the weight of shame carving deeper lines into his face. I never expected it to go that far. That's the thing, Sam interjected. It went too far and you had a chance to stop it. But you didn't. A silence engulfed us, filled with the echo of lost choices and buried secrets. I could see it, the divide between them widening, stretching into something dark that threatened to pull us under. My heart raced as I examined the flickers of anger and regret painting my father's face. You think you can just come back and lay this on me? Dad's voice grew stronger, fueled by anger and desperation. You think you can rewrite history? History. Sam's voice rose, frustration bubbling over. You don't get it. You can't just bury it and expect it to vanish. This is about facing the truth. Leo. Tension crackled in the air as I caught sight of the other patrons watching us. Their conversations halting, eyes darting our way. I wanted to disappear, but I had to stay present, my pulse steadying only slightly with the growing storm brewing between my father and Sam. It's time for the truth, Sam declared, placing the photograph on the table between us. The real question is, what are you willing to face? With that, he reached into his pocket again. My breath caught. What else did he have to reveal? As the weight of his words settled around us, my heart inched with the impending knowledge that we had stumbled upon something much larger than ourselves. Whatever came next might not only change our understanding of the past, it could tear apart the fragile foundation of our family altogether. Would we be able to piece together the shattered fragments of our lives? Or would the truth twist like a blade, leaving lasting scars? As Sam's fingers brushed against another hidden item, anticipation hung thick in the air, demanding we brace for the next revelation. The room vibrated with an electric tension as Sam pulled out another item, a thin, crumpled envelope. He laid it between us like a bomb ready to explode, and Dad flinched at the sight. A wave of memories crashed into him, regret and fear mingling across his features. That envelope, it holds everything, Sam said, his voice steady but urgent. Every choice you made to protect your family, to shield Sarah from the chaos you thought you left behind. What the hell did you do? Dad's voice was barely a whisper, an echo of the past crackling like static in the air. I collected evidence. I needed to understand how your decisions affected Lisa's family, and you can't ignore it any longer, Sam replied, his gaze unfaltering. You have to confront it, or it will keep haunting you. As Sam handed the letter to Dad, the weight of the moment pressed down on us. I could feel my heart racing, anticipation mixing with dread. Would reading the contents of that envelope finally unravel the truth, or tear us apart completely? Dad reached for it hesitantly, like it was a fragile lifeline. His fingers trembled as he opened the flap, and I caught a glimpse of his eyes turning glassy. This was it, the moment everything could change forever. Read it, I urged. There was a chill in my voice, a sense of urgency pushing me forward. He slowly unfolded the letter, the creases crackling like old wounds reopening. As he read, the shadows on his face deepened. I could see the past resurfacing, raw and unyielding. To whom it may concern, he began, his voice wavering. In that moment, the world outside faded away. If you are reading this, it means the time has come to reconcile with choices made. I felt every beat of his heart, echoing in the tight silence. Each word danced around us, swelling with power, like thunder rumbling in the distance. Sarah, I'm sorry, Dad murmured, his voice cracking. He glanced up, anguish and clarity blending within him. I never wanted to face this. I thought burying it would safeguard you. But it didn't. Did it? I countered gently, determination overcoming fear. Hiding the truth made it worse. It's time to face it together. He nodded slowly, the weight of years dissolving with every word he read. Life doesn't grant second chances. But here we are, he whispered, his eyes warm with understanding. And I need to explain everything. I held my breath, bracing myself for whatever revelation was about to emerge. I didn't just walk away from Lisa and Art, he confessed, tears brimmed at the corners of his eyes. I closed the door on everything that made me who I was. And, in doing so, I thought I was saving you from the mess of complicated truths and painful choices. What kind of mess? I pressed, my heart aching for the parts of my father I had yet to know. The kind that reverberates through time, he replied, taking a shaky breath. The loss of love, the choices I thought I made for happiness but really turned into chains. I let fear dictate my dreams. Now is our chance to change that, I said, reaching for his hand, squeezing it tight. We can still find a way forward. Together. He looked into my eyes, a spark of empowerment flickering to life. For the first time, I saw him as not just a father, but as a man the full spectrum of dreams and regrets cradled within him. A heart bursting with unchaste ambitions. Lisa believed in us, he murmured, reflecting on a dream lost to time. I let her go thinking it would protect you, but maybe it was the wrong choice after all. What can we do now? I could barely contain the hope swelling within me. We can build a new future, free from buried truths, he declared, resolving to face whatever chaos lay ahead. We'll honor the past, but we won't let it define us. Art can heal. It can evoke emotions we thought we buried. Sam interjected, the fire in his eyes reigniting. You both have the power to redefine your paths. But it starts now. No more hiding. Once the anger dimmed, the moment felt ripe with possibility. We could embracing our shared burdens, crafting a life filled with authenticity and hope. Let us end this cycle, I suggested, my heart pounding. Let us create a gallery of our lives, your art. My story's a testament of who we are. Dad's eyes glimmered with newfound resolve, and together we took a collective step toward the light. Okay, he said, voice stronger now. Let us reclaim the pieces we lost and face the shadows. Surrounded by canvases and photos filled with life, we would paint anew, one brushstroke at a time. And as we left the gallery, hand in hand, my heart soared. I realized that confronting the past was just the beginning. There was a world filled with vibrant colors just waiting for us to explore. As I breathed deeply, a sense of freedom washed over me, the kind that held the promise of hope. Together, we were ready to soar. Now you have seen the incredible transformation of my relationship with my dad. How about you? Will you find a way to face your own truths? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss any of our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us spread these inspiring journeys. Comment below your reactions and feelings about the ending. I want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Real fans show their support through actions, and this is your moment.